Hey folks, welcome back to Silverton. We are live from the Hardrock 100 for 2023. It's just gone 11 a.m. local time, and we just found out from the race director moments ago that the field is full. Everyone's checked in. At the moment, no one on the wait list is going to be accepted into the 2023 running, unless someone doesn't show up in the morning, right, Brett?
I guess so. I mean, I guess there's still that potential of something
sleeping in.
I mean, they did make like a Tanya Harding joke. I'm like, whoa, man. Don't give anyone any ideas.
So we're joined now by Arlen Glick and Michael Owen, two gentlemen, which I believe you're both from Ohio, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about Ohio, but everyone is saying we've got to get the Ohio boys on here and we've got to have a chat with them. So thanks a lot for joining us. How are you both feeling?
Yeah, doing good. Just happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks. It's good to be here.
So I think we should both, we should talk a little bit about just kind of your journeys to Hardrock. What's the process been like for both of you getting into this race?
Yeah, I think we're probably pretty different in this regard, even though we both live in Ohio. I started ultra running in 2010. First qualifier for Hardrock was 2014, and of course there was a couple years where the lottery didn't take place, but I've been trying to get in since 2014, and so finally got pulled in the lottery this year. First opportunity to toe the line. I've never been on the wait list even in the past lotteries, so kind of an 8-year process of getting in. Lots changed in my life in 8 years, of course. But also kind of looking at it as like a blessing in disguise, and gain that experience for hopefully tomorrow to go well. But yeah, just my overarching thought is like just super excited to be here finally and finally take part in it.
Yeah, for me, it's funny that Michael and I, friends, wound up here on such different terms. I'm, a lot later to the party here. Ran my first qualifier last year, Run Rabbit Run, and somehow wound up on the start list. So here we are, 2 weeks and 5 days after Western States. So yes. I'm excited to be given such a crazy calendar, but I'm stoked for it.
Yeah, someone actually, the first question on the chat was ask Arlen about the UTMB triple, which I think we definitely don't need to go into much detail, but is that a yes or a no, Arlen?
I think it's a no.
Okay, excellent.
So my plan was I had to kill one of the three that were on my calendar, and so I decided to kill the UTMB. It was what I was planning on falling back on if Western States or Hardrock didn't happen. So we still have 24 hours to find out if UTMB will happen.
So, I'll ask you both just straight up, what are your goals for the race? What is the dream scenario?
I mean, for me, it's in no way, shape, or form I'm approaching it as a race. It's for me, it's about finishing, and it is called the Hardrock Endurance Run, so I'm approaching it as just a long day or two in the mountains in this spectacular course, and just enjoying the process. In the past, I've definitely raced 100-milers, but this is not going to be like a race mentality for me. So my goal is to finish the race under almost all circumstances, and wherever that winds up, time or place, I don't really care. So for me, it's just about the journey and just taking it all in. And if maybe in the future, I can actually press a bit, but I don't think it's wise for me at least to press at any point in the race. So hopefully that's a good approach.
Yeah, for me, I mean, like, I know how, I probably will never understand how fortunate I am to be here, but I'm trying to let that reality soak in. And I know if I don't get a finish, this is probably all I'll ever remember of Hard Rock. And so, like, I do have that hanging over me. Yeah, Michael and I were just discussing that we have the potential of bringing the Ohio finishers up to the double digits.
There we go.
Okay.
If we both get a finish
Motivation.
here.
Yeah, there's
So-
only been 8 finishers from Ohio, I think, in race history. So it's kind of,
Yeah.
There's 4 of us in the race this year from Ohio, so
Wow,
it's going to be a good year.
big numbers.
Yeah, so we have a little bit of pressure for a finish, but I think for me, like after not having the day that I wanted it at Western State, still had an amazing race, had an amazing adventure out there, but not having the race I wanted. I think like at Hard Rock, even though I'm still probably only seen 20 miles of the course in the last 2 weeks, and like young and dumb is probably the way to describe me. And so I kind of like want to take some risks and kind of swing for the fences regardless of of how fit I am or ready for it, and basically take as many chances as I can without risking a DNF, because that's what I really don't want to get is a DNF out here.
How's kind of the recovery and bounce back been since Western States? I saw, you've been up in Silverton for a few weeks and gotten to spend some time on the course. How's the body? How's the mind?
Yeah, well, I think it's impossible for the mind to not be there when you're living up here. The body has been fine, other than a nice belly flop on the trail out there a week ago, but I haven't really tested it yet. I've been just getting up high every day, spending probably a stupid amount of time up on trail, but mostly just hiking. Haven't really done a super long effort or anything like to really test whether or not the body has snapped back. I feel fine, but I think we would expect that after like a couple weeks after a 100-miler when all you've done is hiking in between. So that's where it's at.
Did it ever cross your mind to say no to coming here?
There was a gut-wrenching feeling when I found out I was in, because I was not, like, I just threw in. I'm like, there's no chance I'm getting in, but I want to get the process started. So there was that oh no feeling when I found out I was in, and then I had to go check and see what the date was of the race to see if it would work with Western States. But no, since I've committed to it, there was no second guessing about Hard Rock. Once I got over the initial shock, it was only stoke from there out.
So from what I understand, you guys can help me out. Ohio isn't really that mountainous. That's what everyone keeps telling me. Ohio is pretty flat. So how do you guys, like, do you go with the strategy of like fitness over anything else, or like what is your strategy with training for something like this?
Yeah, for me, so first off, Arlen and I are like 3.5 hours away, like from a drive standpoint. So I'm far south Ohio. Arlen's a bit more north, and I guess the topography is similar to where we live, but I think it's a little bit of a misnomer that Ohio is a flat state.
My apologies.
I mean, no offense. I mean, it is recognized as a flyover state for a lot of people, but I've lived there for 34 years, my whole life, and I've done 8 Hard Rock qualifiers that are all super mountainous, and actually I think where I live at least. Arlen probably has thoughts on this for where he lives, but I can do, like for instance, I put on a 50-mile race that has 11,000 feet of vert, and it's one consecutive loop, so it's very comparable to other 50-milers in mountainous regions. It's just you're getting the vert in a different way. It's short, steep climbs. You're not getting the 4-mile consecutive climbs, but it's a different test to your body. Now obviously we don't have the altitude either, which is probably for me at least, like I look at the altitude as the biggest adjustment coming here. But I think Ohio represents really well with like mountainous and hilly courses.
Yeah, for sure. I would have to agree with Michael, especially the area that he comes from. Myself, I can drive 40 minutes and find plenty of hills. But yeah, it's not the same. It's not, and we top out at like 1,500 feet above sea level or something. So we definitely don't have the altitude. But for me, I don't know. Like, I definitely will. I'm very proud of Ohio and the ultra running scene in Ohio, and we have a lot of great people and whatever. But I have been a little out of touch. I've been doing most of my training out west here because I was in western states, so I've had a little bit of exposure to altitude coming into it. But so I don't know if it's fair to call us both preparing the same way, as where I got fit for western states and he had Hardrock was his main thing. And so I wrecked my body, but prepared maybe a little bit more specifically. So it'll be fun to see how it actually, how it compares, the two Ohio boys compare on race day.
Yeah, and fortunately for me, I've been out here for over a month. So I think I feel pretty decent about the acclimation. And then like you said about the approach earlier in the season, it is about like building a base, building general fitness. Then once I got out here, it was kind of the specific items of like hiking and getting up high and having those long days on feet where I'm not necessarily running much, but just being on my feet at a slower pace. So that was my general approach since December. So yeah, it's a fun mix, and getting out here over a month ahead was it just like made me feel a little bit more at peace with that process.
So Brett, you and Marco used to race back in the day.
Well, that's what I just learned before we went live. Michael was like, "Do you run for Southern Oregon University?" And it's like, "Yeah." It turns out we overlapped for a couple years in the little NAIA collegiate division, which has churned out a good handful of ultra runners. So,
Yeah.
way to represent the NAIA.
No, it's cool seeing like the collegiate runners that you overlapped with, like getting into the sport. It's kind of a small world in that regard.
I know. Yeah, even from like Southern Oregon all the way to Ohio, it's like overlapped at a couple races there, and then now hanging out up at Hardrock.
Yeah.
So are you both considering the depletion mile on Sunday?
I definitely am. Yeah. Like
Yes.
I love these little traditions, and I don't know who. Maybe Mike Wardian started that back in the day, perhaps, or maybe it's been going on longer. But I love those traditions of Hardrock, and it's like hopefully I'm feeling good enough to just wake up, or maybe I'm just now finishing or something. But I'll be over there.
Just roll straight
Yeah.
into it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it maybe depends on when I finish, whether it's Saturday or Sunday or what. When, but yeah, I haven't really given it much thought yet. I think I'll just in the moment just decide, like, do I want to run this or am I here?
I think that's the right approach. You don't need to be worrying about.
Yeah, I don't want that
depletion
hanging
mile.
over me
No,
when
no,
I'm
no,
trying
no.
to make the cutoff.
No.
I think it could be a good carrot. I mean, maybe.
Got to make sure I get to the finish so I'm
Yeah.
eligible for the depletion.
Well, what time is it?
mile.
I haven't even seen.
It's like
I think it's 7 a.m.
7,
Oh, okay.
On
Right
Sunday.
after the cutoff.
an hour after the cutoff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you have
So you gotta
an
be
hour
there
recovery
regardless,
at minimum, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well-
Just roll straight into it.
I mean, I feel like this segues really well into our next bit. To keep you from being depleted before the depletion mile, we do have a special like Hardrock beverage for both of you.
All right.
This is Flota.
Thank you.
Arlen, I know, we talked before Western States, you were on, the Coca-Cola and Morton diet. So here at Hardrock, we have Flota, which is by Trail Runner and Satisfy Club. It was at Cocodona as well. So you were also
Yeah.
probably familiar with it there.
Yeah, I cracked
Yeah.
my first one during the Cocodona when I was pacing Sarah out there.
So you might actually be one of the first people that had a Flota before now. But if you like, you're more than welcome to crack one open, do a little taste test. These will be at the Ure aid station. So that's that'll be a great spot to look forward to. But
All right.
what do you
Yeah,
think?
that works.
That's good.
Yeah, it'll be.
It is flat too. That's perfect for like when you're running.
Yep,
Yeah,
it'll be there
extremely
for you
flat.
at Ure to give you some extra little rocket fuel to get over the next few passes.
It's extremely flat, but it's got pop,
Yeah,
see how
it's
that
got a little
works.
zing to it. That's really good. Good play on words there.
Yeah. Good
Yeah, the
promo.
flavor's very strong despite it not having the kick.
Yeah.
Good ingredients too, but
Yeah. Go easy on those cans, all right?
yeah.
You might.
Yeah.
We're not exactly sure what the ingredients are, like, or amount
No.
of sugar or caffeine, so
No,
we
they've
should
got
figure that
it
out
all back there. I think,
All right.
and like, as far as
You're
I
gonna
know,
need
it's
it
all
in the
legit.
next
Yeah.
couple of days, eh?
Yep.
Yeah. Arlen, I wanted to ask, because I've seen you at Western States, and I also did a bunch of work for Javelina 100, and I got to see your family, your crew at races is often quite large, and I'm like, man, he's got it dialed. And I believe you're from the Mennonite community, and I just wanted to learn a little bit more about that. I don't believe that there's much of a Mennonite community in Australia, so coming over here to America, I was like, this is new and interesting. I wanted to just ask a little bit more about that, and yeah, if you could explain, that'd be rad, just to educate me and my ignorance on that.
Yeah, no, that's okay. We come from a Mennonite background. I have a very large family. There's nine of us kids, and yeah, there were quite a few at Western States, so it made quite an impression. Especially
That's awesome.
especially with all of them wearing their craft gear and everything. So we made a pretty nice splash in the scene. But yeah, to familiarize yourself with the Mennonites, I mean they're Christians. They just within the denomination, it's just slightly different, approach to, but it's the same biblical values that the Christians hold to. So yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing, like everyone just rocking around in like kind of the craft gear. I was like, that is some sweet marketing going on right there.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. In fact, I have my two sisters. So the whole family didn't come out for Hard Rock, but I have two sisters here that'll be crewing for me, as well as a friend from Virginia, and then Tessa Chesser, another craft runner that lives in Telluride now, and then we have Abel, the athlete manager, who showed up this morning. So yeah, we have a pretty solid crew out here as well.
And so it's like ultra running, trail running big in the community?
I mean, it is in Ohio. Yeah, I mean, it is in our area. Ohio is like, I mean, I want to think we're one of the strongest running communities in the East. I want to think that anyway. But yeah, I mean, it's a fairly big thing in our area and in our community. Yeah.
Rock and roll. But now you're like you must be just such a guru in some regard in terms of like being such an incredible athlete as well as like being a part of the community.
Oh, I don't know about incredible. I think I have more fun than anybody else, but whatever.
I think fun and floater are like together. So
Yeah, they
that's a
go
good combo.
hand in hand very well.
That's a great combo.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking almost a half hour out from your runner brief meeting. Probably let you guys get ready for that.
Is there anything you both do to like get rid of some pre-race nerves? Because are they building it all right now?
Pound
or
of Florida.
you guys pretty chilled?
Are there race nerves in Silverton? I'm not sure. I think there's this nervousness with like at any minute if you miss one of the mandatory meetings, somebody else could get your spot. I think that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
So I'm checked in. So all I have to hit is the 5:45 tomorrow morning. That's about the only thing I'm nervous about. But I mean, on a serious note, one thing I learned that really helped me with race day nerves is to go in on practically an empty stomach. Contrary to what a lot of ultra runners do. But I find that if I wait to consume calories till after the gun goes off and the nerves are gone, my stomach acts a lot better. So, I mean, that would be the only comment I would have to make on my approach to race day nerves / nutrition.
I mean, for me, like, it's been so chill out here for the past 30 odd days. I've been sleeping in my tent. I haven't slept in a bed for so long, and like, I'm gonna do the same thing tonight and wake up tomorrow and like, yeah, like all these things that I've picked up the last few days, Camp Hard Rock, but also like I've got 2 kids and a wife, and like, even though Hard Rock's like top priority for being out here, like there's a lot of other things that keeps my mind occupied. that hasn't allowed me to like really think about getting nervous or anything. And really just when the race hits, like everything calms down, like in my mind at least. And just like I've got one thing to think about for 30 some hours or 40 some hours or whatever. So yeah, I mean, there's some excitement building, but I'm also thinking about all the things I kind of got to do with just camping and family and getting things ready. So it's a good place to be, because like the race is pretty low key in a lot of regards. And if you want to, you can kind of stay away from the fray.
Arlen, we just had one question on the chat for you, and it was about your interval training running up and down hills. And the person just wanted to know, like, do you do all of that just like easy zone 2, or are you always like smashing the hills when you get out on them?
Yeah, so they're referring to Mount Deerfield, which is a Strava segment, or latter known as Crash and Burn. But I think Jacob Conrad set up the segment there and put it as Mount Deerfield. But yeah, there's a pretty steep incline there on the road that I've spent many of days on. I have not been on it as regular training for this year. It was my most popular training location last year for Western States, but I was out on course much this year. So as far as the intensity, I often did just like a pretty moderate level effort. But last year when I was doing training, I did much of it like downhill hard as I was preparing for Western States. And I did run downhill much better at Western States last year. So apparently Mount Deerfield is the secret sauce. I don't know.
There we go.
Love it.
I think you've recruited. I think hopefully we can get that Ohio Hardrock finisher number up this year. That's my hope for both you guys and the Ohioans. And I think we've also probably recruited more people to move to Ohio throughout this chat.
Yeah. Or even those who are already in Ohio. We're going to see an uptick in lottery tickets
I'd love to see that
for Hardrock from Ohioans.
Well, thanks so much, guys. Really appreciate your time, and really hope you hit your goals and have a great time out there at Hardrock this year. All the best.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having us here. It was a lot of fun.
Woo.